I'm Ruth Ellis, 68 years old. For 12 years, I've been the keeper of the lost and found. But this was the year I was about to lose it all. Harold's been gone 6 Christmases, and his shop was failing. The bank gave me until the new year, and I had simply given up. I was ready to let the shop go, ready to let him go. Then, on December 23rd, the bell over my door clinked. It was my oldest friend, Agnes. She was holding a small wooden box. "Ruth," she said, her voice trembling just a little, "I've held a secret for Harold since the day of his funeral. He made me promise to give you this only when you were about to give up." Inside that box was a key and a locket and a 50-year-old secret that would either save me or break what was left of me. You should know something about the shop. Ellis Lost and Found. It isn't fancy. It smells like cedar and old books. We keep umbrellas that forgot their owners, quilts with initials no one remembers, and tin boxes full of buttons that match nothing and everything all at once. People bring things in, people take things home, and in the middle of it all, there was Harold and me for 42 years, believing, really believing, that nothing is ever truly lost. But this year, well, people buy new things on the internet. Nobody patches coats. Nobody fixes radios. They throw away stories and order replacements by noon. The bank manager slid a paper forward with the quiet of a person who does not love his job. Mrs. Ellis, January 2nd. After that, I'd have to sell the building Harold and I saved for our whole lives. And with it, I thought, would go the one place where his laugh still lives between the shelves. So when Agnes came in with the little wooden box, I was already halfway to surrender. She set the box on the counter where Harold used to polish watches. "I should have told you sooner," she said. "But he was so clear." "Clear about what?" I asked, fingers on the lid. She looked past me to the old photograph of Harold by the register. "He brought me this the morning before the hospital. Said, 'Aggie, don't give it to Ruth while she's still a fighter. Give it to her when she forgets she is one.'" I swallowed something hot and foolish. I didn't forget. "No," she said softly. "You got tired." I lifted the lid. A brass key the color of honey, stamped with a number, 72, and a small engrave, mistletoe. Beside it, a silver locket on a worn chain. Inside, a tiny photograph of 2 children in wool coats. On the back, the name, written in Harold's square hand, Eliza. "Who's Eliza?" Agnes asked. "I don't know," I said. But my bones knew otherwise. Somewhere in the picture, I felt an ache I hadn't named in 50 years. Agnes poured tea.
"There's more," she said, and pulled a folded card from her coat. Harold's handwriting again. "Ruth," it read, "if you're reading this, it means you forgot how to fight, which means I need to lead you by the hand a little. The key belongs to a locker we used to keep. The word you need is the one I whispered every Christmas. Start where we first danced." I laughed, one sharp sound in a quiet store. He always loved a scavenger hunt. We locked the register. I flipped the hand-painted sign to closed. We walked up toward St. Luke's Church Hall. "Start where we first danced," I said, pushing the church hall door. It echoed. In the back, by the coat room, a row of ancient storage lockers. I ran my fingers along the numbers until I felt it. 72. The honey-colored key turned like it had been waiting. Inside, wrapped in wax paper, an old music box, and a sealed envelope addressed in Harold's hand, "To Ruth when she's tired." I broke the seal. "Sweetheart," the letter began, "if you're here, it means you forgot your fight. You can borrow mine. Wind the music box, then follow the locket." I wound it once. The tune rose up thin and brave. "Mistletoe waltz," Agnes whispered. "Do you hear it?" I did. And under the waltz, I heard something else, a soft rattle. I turned it over and found a second hidden compartment. Inside, a train ticket stub, faded to ghost paper. Mistletoe Station, December 24th, 1972. I closed my hand over the locket. Not what, who. Because way back before the shop, before Harold, there had been one winter when I was 16. Her name was Eliza, and I had lost her. Agnes touched my sleeve. "We should go tomorrow morning. First light." I shook my head. "We go now." "Ruth, it's nearly dark." If Harold tied a string from the shop to Eliza's name, I'm not sleeping until I see where it leads. Agnes nodded. "Then I'm driving." The roads out to Mistletoe run flat and black through fields that keep their secrets under snow. Agnes drove, straight-backed. I held the locket, thumb rubbing the word Eliza. "I'm angry with you," I said at last. "I know," she said, eyes on the road. "I would have fought differently if I'd had that letter." "You would have fought out of fear," she said. "He wanted you to fight out of love." "That's a fine sentiment from a man who isn't here to watch me pack up his shelves," I said, and the meanness in my voice startled us both. I breathed until it passed. "I'm sorry." Agnes's mouth softened. "He put the choice on me, Ruth, to be the friend you thanked or the friend you blamed. I picked the one I could live with. Blame me." "I don't," I said, though part of me did. I thought Harold told me everything." "He told you the truth," she said. "He just saved the last part for when it would matter most." The station hadn't changed since 1972. The sign still read mistletoe, letter T hanging like a bad tooth. The ticket office was shut, but the waiting room was open. A man in a railroad cap emerged from a side room with a broom. "We're closed," he said, then peered. "Agnes, is that you?" "Agnes Garner," she said, laughing. "You old goat, you're still keeping this place alive?" "Alive enough to keep the Christmas Eve ride," he said. "And you brought—" "Ruth," I said, offering a hand. "Ellis." His face shifted. "Ellis, the watchman's wife, Harold. He tuned the clock in the tower every Easter." "He did," I said, and wanted to sit. "We're looking for something," Agnes said. "Or someone," I added, then leaned the broom against the wall. "People think this place is for trains," he said, voice low, "but it's really for hellos and goodbyes." He pointed at the old row of station lockers. The key we had was for 72, and these lockers only ran to 60. "Ben," I said, "were there ever more lockers?" He said, "They're in the freight room." "Why?" "Because my life still depends on them," I said, and he took us around back. The freight room smelled like rope and old rain. 72 waited, quiet as a promise. The honey key turned again. Inside, a train schedule from December 1972 and a note in Harold's hand. "Follow the tickets." Tucked behind the schedule were 2 more stubs, both stamped mistletoe, one with my name and one with the name that washed up at the edge of my mind like a shell. E. Martin. Eliza Martin. My maiden name had been Martin, too. After Mama died and Daddy lost his battles, Eliza and I were the kind of girls who slept with shoes under the bed. That winter, there was a social worker, said we couldn't stay. Eliza was already 17. They assigned her to a family in Cedar Ridge. I was 16 and got a different letter. "Only for a little while," she promised at Mistletoe Station. "We'll find each other." But then a foster home turns into 2, and one day you discover you've become the age of the women who used to hand you casserole dishes. I touched the ticket like it could turn time backward. "Ben," I said, voice not steady, "who would have written names on ticket stubs?" "Me old conductor, Miles, said a name is the one thing you shouldn't let get away." Then looked at the stub. E. Martin. I remember him muttering that Christmas about a girl who cried without making a sound. That was Eliza. She always cried like she didn't want to wake anyone up. Agnes squeezed my hand. "So, we have a name, a place, a year." "And a locket," I said. "We need a directory." Ben grinned. "Or," he said, "you ride the Christmas Eve train and ask the right people. People talk when lights go by." Agnes glanced at her watch. "It's an hour until the train. We can't leave the shop closed that long, Ruth. We can't afford to miss last-minute Christmas trade." There it was, the old fight in the new world. My heart pulled toward the past, my hands already packing boxes. I thought of Harold's letter. If you forgot your fight, borrow mine. He was telling me to move, not mope. "Ben," I said, "can we sell cocoa on the train?" He blinked. "What?" "I have a counter and a kettle.
We'll haul a thermos and a tin with "Pay What You Wish" written on it, and I'll carry a photograph that needs a miracle. Agnes laughed, unexpected and young. "That's my girl," she said. The Christmas Eve train is one of those ridiculous, holy things small towns get right. Paper lanterns, children in knitted hats, somebody's uncle dressed as St. Nicholas. We boarded with a thermos, a tin, and the locket. Agnes moved down the aisle pouring cocoa and telling people, "Pay what you wish, all proceeds save a good shop." I held up the locket's tiny photograph. "Do you remember these girls?" I asked. "One of them is me. The other is my sister, Eliza." Most people squinted and shrugged. One woman pressed her fingers to her lips. I knew 2 Martins, girls with borrowed coats. One went with the Dawson family in Cedar Ridge. I don't know. I think she had a trouble and left in the night. "Do you know the Dawsons' address?" I asked. She did. Everyone does. Agnes tucked the napkin into her pocket. "We'll go after the ride," she said. When the train slowed to pass the falls, people grew quiet. The conductor clanged the bell twice and called out, "Folks, if you've lost anything this year, a glove, a job, a friend, may the lights give you back what can be given back, and may they teach you how to carry what can't." Agnes's hand found mine again. "He would have loved that," she whispered. And then, from 3 rows back, a voice like a song you haven't heard since the radio had dials. "Excuse me?" the voice said, careful. "Did you say Eliza Martin?" I turned. She was my age exactly. Silver hair. Eyes soft. "I knew an Eliza," she said, "but I haven't said her name out loud in too long." "Do you remember where she went?" I asked. The woman nodded, then shook her head. "She went to Cedar Ridge for a while, Dawson family, but that part was hard. I ran into her a year later in the city, at the shelter off Maple. She said she was leaving in the morning on a bus to Springfield. A lady there, Miss Ortega, found something steadier." "Springfield," Agnes repeated. "We can find records." The woman smiled. "Records don't always want to be found, but—" She reached in her purse and pulled a church program. She scribbled a phone number. "Miss Ortega is gone, but her daughter, Marisol, runs the shelter now. She's my niece. Tell her Annie sent you." I took the program like it was gold leaf. "Thank you." "Don't thank me," she said. "Find her." When the train pulled into Mistletoe, the thermos was empty. The tin held more money than I dared hope. Ben met us with his broom and a grin. "How'd we do?" "We sold every cup," Agnes said, breathless, "and we found a string to pull." Agnes lifted her face into the snow. "Tomorrow is Christmas Eve," she said. "We open the shop at 9 and we call Marisol at sunrise. And Ruth, will you let me be the friend you blame for one more day and forgive after?" I took her hand. "I'll blame you until noon," I said, smiling, "and forgive you in time for the first carol." Christmas Eve began with the bank on my answering machine. A reminder about January 2nd. It's something, isn't it, how a machine can deliver a sentence that can end a life. I deleted it, then wrote on a chalkboard in my best steady hand, "Cocoa and carols, pay what you wish," all to save a little shop and a lot of stories. By 10, the shop rang like a small bell, the way rooms do when they remember what they're for.
Agnes ran the kettle, I ran the till. The bell over the door learned a new kind of music. At 10:30, a teenager slipped in against the doorframe. She had a winter jacket that didn't belong to her body type and a face that said she'd learned to speak last. She looked at the free repair sign, then at the locket in my hand. "You fix things?" she asked, voice small but iron somewhere in it. "We try," I said. She reached into her pocket and pulled out an old music player. "It was my mom's," she said. "I can't make it play." I held it. "What's your name?" "Mara," she said, with an A at the end, like in the Bible when Naomi said, "Call me bitter." "Do you want it to be bitter?" I asked, gently. She shrugged. "Some days the word knows me before I know myself." I opened the music player. The battery door's little spring had slipped. My hands remembered what Harold's hands had taught them. I eased it back, found a AAA in the drawer where we keep dead pens and live miracles. I pressed play. A song spilled out, tinny and full of a woman who had worked hard and still found her breath for joy. Mara flinched. "That's her," she said, and turned her back to us. A privacy in public. When she turned around again, her eyes were bright. She saw the sign and the paper by the register with the picture of two girls. "Who's that?" she asked. "My sister and me," I said. "We're looking for her." "You lost her?" "I lost her, and I'm not done looking." She stood a little taller. "Do you need help with anything?" she asked. "I can sweep. I can make signs. I don't like to go home right now." Agnes gave me a look. "We need a social chair," I said, inventing a title. Mara smiled, like it hurt in all the good places. "I can be that. I have that book." While she was convincing a cluster of kindergarteners to shake jingle bells, I called the number Annie had given us, Springfield Shelter. A woman answered, voice brisk and warm. "Marisol." "Annie's aunt gave me your number," I said. "I'm looking for a woman who used to be a girl named Eliza Martin, 1973. There was silence, then a soft intake of breath. "We don't give out names," she said, "but I can tell you this. Miss Ortega kept a book of Christmas wishes, names of girls who wanted their families found. I have that book." Agnes mouthed, "She has the book." "Is there a way we could look?" I asked. "You could come today," Marisol said. "We close early." "I can't," I said, eyes on the line at the register. "If I leave, the shop will sink." "Then we'll make a deal," she said. "You send me a photograph of your locket. I'll look in the book and call you back." "I don't know how to send a picture on this thing." "I do," Mara said, appearing at my elbow. "Give me your phone." She took the photo in 2 steady moves, sent it, then typed, "From Ruth at the Lost and Found." "Thank you," I said. "You gonna pay me?" she asked, casual, testing. "In cocoa." "That's okay," she said, and for the first time smiled like she believed she was allowed. "I like cocoa." Bells. At noon, the phone rang. "Ruth?" Marisol said. "I have a page in the book with E. Martin, Christmas Wish, A Kitchen Together Again. There's a note, Springfield, 1976, name changed to Eliza Hart. There's a forwarding address, Maple Heights, then a line about an old church job, St. Luke's City Parish, Bells." "Bells?" I repeated, and my chest did the thing it does when the whole world becomes a single point of sound. "We can't give addresses," she said, "but St. Luke's City Parish has a directory online." "I don't know how to," I began again, and Mara's hand was already out. "Phone," she said. Mara found the directory in 12 seconds, then frowned. "No Eliza Hart," she said, "but there's a woman, Eliza Hart Men, choir director. It says she retired last year." "That could be her," Agnes said, "if the world is being kind." I sat on the stool behind the counter, knees weak. Mara typed a message to the parish email, then another to the choir Facebook page. "Done," she said. "Now we wait." The day gathered itself into small mercies. The jar filled. People sang badly and beautifully. Around 3, my phone buzzed with a message from an unknown number. "This is Pastor Joel, St. Luke's City Parish. Our former choir director is indeed Eliza Hartman. She visits our Christmas Eve service every year and lights the candle for Families Found. She's due here at 6 p.m. Should I tell her someone is looking?" My hands shook. "Tell her Ruth is coming," I typed. "Do you have enough time?" Agnes asked. "If we close early," I said, "we'll put a sign. Gone to find a sister. Back when we know how to be." "Do it," Agnes said. "What about me?" Mara asked, too casual. "You," I said, "are coming with us if you want to." She stared at me as if I'd handed her a country. "Can I?" "If someone asks where you are, tell them you're with your bosses," Agnes said. Mara swallowed. "Okay," she said, and then quietly, "Thank you." We drove to the city as the first stars came out. I stared at the locket, at the tiny face turned toward mine, at the word, Eliza. "I left her," I said, voice shaking truth loose. "No," Agnes said, "I didn't look hard enough. You were a child." I became a woman who stopped hoping because hoping felt like opening an old wound. Agnes didn't say anything for a while. Then she said, "That's what Harold saw. Not that you forgot how to fight, but that you were protecting the part of you that bled." Mara leaned forward from the back seat. "What if she's mad?" she asked. "Then I'll let her be mad," I said, "and I'll stand there and be the sister who didn't find her sooner, and we'll see what forgiveness costs these days." We reached St. Luke's just before 6. My phone buzzed. Pastor Joel. "She's here. Far left pew, wool coat, blue scarf." I laughed, sharp and wet. "That's everyone," I said. But I knew. You always know the person you once kept alive by saying her name to yourself in the dark. She turned before I could begin to look, as if some bell had told her. Her face was my face. If life had taken 2 different ways of teaching us the same lesson. She stood up so slowly it felt like the room tilted. "Ruth," she said, voice not much more than breath. "Eliza," I said. And then there was no room. And then she was in my arms and I in hers, and the choir started singing a song about a silent night. "I looked," she said. "I didn't look enough," I said. "I forgave you years ago," she whispered. "I forgave you just now," I said. And we both laughed.
Pastor Joel led us into a side room. Eliza took off her gloves. "I became Hartman when I married," she said. "He's gone now. We never had children. I kept a shop," I said, "lost and found, because same reason." She touched the locket. "You kept it." "Harold hid it," I said. "He gave me a map I didn't know how to read." Mara watched with eyes that ate everything. I like knowing people find people." "We do," Eliza said. "Sometimes, like this, on time. Sometimes 10 minutes late and still right." "What do you need, Ruth?" she asked. "Right now, today." I told her the truth, about the bank, about January 2nd. She listened. "I can't write big checks," she said. "I don't have that life, but I can sing and I can make a town come when a woman asks in the right voice." Pastor Joel leaned in. He said, "Our Christmas Eve service ends at 8:30. We could invite the congregation to a night of finding at your shop." Agnes started crying. "And we'll sell pay-what-you-wish baskets until the kettle begs for mercy," she said. "Mara, can you make a sign?" Mara grinned. "I already did," she said, holding up a poster. Eliza cupped my cheek. "We started our lives with empty pockets," she said. "We learned how to pass the hat."
We drove back under a sky so clear it felt expensive. Eliza rode with us, fingers laced in mine on the seat between. "Do you remember the first time we saw snow?" she asked, and we laughed. At the shop, Agnes flung the door open like a curtain. "Mara, kettle. Ruth, till. Eliza, you're on invitation duty." She wrote on the chalkboard, "Tonight, 9 p.m., night of finding hymns, cocoa, stories. Bring something you found or something you want back." We put a string of lights in the front window that blinked. Ben showed up with his broom and a wife carrying a tray of gingerbread. The retired teacher brought her class list from 1969 and a check. People came like water finding a lower place. At 8:45, the church carolers spilled in. Eliza walked in behind them. Pastor Joel stood at the steps and said the one sentence that opens a wonder, "Friends, we are here to testify." And then he shut up, God bless him, and let the town talk.
A woman in a red coat held up a mitten. "I brought these in last winter," she said. "Found them here. My hands remembered." A young man told a story about a dog that had showed up 3 days later at his mother's back porch. An older couple laid down a postcard. "We framed it when we came home," the husband said. "We kept it to remember how to go." Mara stood at the kettle. When the line thinned, she slipped to the counter. Can I say something?" "Say it," Eliza said. Mara cleared her throat. I lost a person this year," she said. "It made me bitter." She glanced at me, at Agnes. "Tonight, I found a job," she added, and the room laughed in the good way. "And maybe a place to be. That's it." People clapped in a way that won't scare a skittish animal. We sang, not fancy, not on key, holy. Eliza's alto curled under everything. She led "It Came Upon a Midnight Clear," and then, her eyes on me, "Go Tell It on the Mountain." Between songs, the jar filled. Around 10:30, the door opened again and a man walked in. He looked at Eliza. "Eliza Hartman?" he asked. "Yes," she said. He held out the folder. "I'm your neighbor. I work at the county records office. There's an unclaimed property account, a small endowment for the care of music and girls who need it. It's yours to direct." Eliza blinked. "How much is not much?" He named a number that isn't a fortune, but could keep a kettle on for a long winter. The room exhaled as one creature. I looked at Agnes in disbelief. Agnes looked at the ceiling as if to say to Harold, "All right then, you rascal." Eliza turned to me. "Ruth," she said simply, "will you use this to fund your free repairs sign for a year and to pay a stipend for your new social chair?" Mara actually checked behind her. "Me?" she squeaked. "You," Eliza said. "I would like to invest in your finding." Near midnight, after people had drifted home, the four of us stood in the quiet shop. Me, my sister, my oldest friend, and a girl who had just found a door with her name on it. I went to the register. The jar and the tin were full. I counted quietly. When I finished, I sat down hard. "Agnes," I said, voice husky, "we have enough to make January 2nd a conversation, not a funeral." I named the number. She exhaled a prayer. "Harold," she said toward the ceiling again, "you rotten genius." Eliza leaned on the counter. "Tomorrow," she said, "we make a plan. You know computers? I can do anything the library password will let me do," Mara said, chin lifting. "Good," Eliza said. "Tomorrow we'll set up online donations, a newsletter called Found Notes. And we'll keep the cocoa," Agnes said. "Some ideas are too perfect to fix." I ran my hand over the counter. Scar. "I was going to let it all go," I said. I was ready to hand the keys to a boy in good shoes and let him sell what love built. Eliza took my hand, same way as when we were girls. "Nothing is ever truly lost," she said, then raised an eyebrow. "But if it tries to be, you run after it. Deal?" "Deal," I said. We locked the door. The sign on the glass, "Gone to find a sister," caught our reflections. Outside, the snow had decided to commit. It fell with that hush that covers sharp edges. We stood for a minute, faces up. Mara broke the quiet. Can I come back tomorrow?" "You're due at 9 sharp," Agnes said. "I will expect a report on cocoa inventory." Mara grinned. "I can do that. I know a boy who sells sounds." Eliza laughed. "Of course you do." We said goodnight. Agnes hugged me. "Be mad at me tomorrow morning," she whispered. "I can take it." "I won't be," I said. "You did the thing a friend does. You kept the match until I needed the flame." Eliza and I walked halfway down the block. "I used to light the family's found candle for other people," she said. "I didn't think to ask for my own." "Ask," I said. She did. "God, let me keep what I found." We turned toward home, the new kind, the kind made of a shop with a kettle, a ledger with hope in it. Inside, in the dark, the shop settled. I wound the music box once for Harold. The mistletoe waltz rose up thin and brave and perfect. And if you ask me now what we saved that Christmas Eve, my answer is simple. We saved the shop. We saved the motto. And we saved the girl I used to be, the one who believed nothing is ever truly lost, and finally remembered how to fight.